What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today I'm going to show you how to set up your Spyder LED moving headlight. As you can see, it comes with the light itself, a DMX cable and a power cable, and mounting hardware to mount the light onto a truss. Now the light won't power on unless we plug it in, so let's go over that now. So we're going to take the female end of the power cable here and plug it into the power in socket on the back of the light, and then we can plug the other end into our power supply or power outlet. We're going to leave it off just for now so we can go over the different placements for the light. Now we have many different ways we can place the light, like on the floor because of the feet at the bottom. So this would be good to place in front of the stage or behind the stage for the effect. And we can even place it on top of a totem stand. But for that, you just want to make sure to remove the 35mm pole mount in the middle so we can rest the light on top instead. The light also comes with mounting hardware so we can mount the light onto a truss. To do that, we're just going to take the mounting bracket here, and we're also going to need a lighting clamp like our very own LC70. So we're going to remove this bolt here on the lighting clamp by taking off this wing nut. After that, we'll take out the bolt, and you might need a wrench in case it's really stuck on there, and then from there you can unscrew the rest. After that, you can take your mounting bracket and line it up to the hole here on the lighting clamp where our bolt was. Then we'll take the bolt again and run it through the holes of the mounting bracket and our clamp, and then we can screw the wing nut back on to secure it. From there, we're going to turn our light around so that we can see these screw holes here on the bottom of the light. We're going to line up these holes on our mounting bracket to the holes on our light, and then we're going to use the included screws to secure the mounting bracket onto our light. You can also use an Allen key to really tighten the screws into the light. So now that we've got the lighting clamp attached to the light, we're then going to loosen this butterfly screw here on our clamp, and then we can line up the opening of the clamp to a spot on our truss and tighten the butterfly screw to secure the light onto the truss. From there, we can run the power to the light and use any of the modes available for our show or event. And then we can even set the light up to a DMX controller to control it from afar. So on the front of the light, you'll see the LED display along with the different buttons we can use to control our light. So we've got the menu button to cycle between the different modes available, the up and down buttons to cycle through the different settings of these modes, and then the enter button to go into these settings and save our changes. And once you press enter on these modes, the light will automatically remember the last mode it was set to next time it powers on. What's also really cool is that there are these lights on the side to tell us that our light is set to the DMX, Slave, Master, or Sound mode. So now let me explain what each mode does on our light. So we've got the DMX channel mode where we can set our light either to the 7-channel or 15-channel mode. And we use these modes to set how much control we have over our light using a DMX controller. There's also the DMX address mode, so we can set up the DMX address for the light. Next, we have the Master Slave mode where we can set our light either to Master, Sound, or Slave mode. So we can either set it to Master mode where the light will control a string of lights, Sound mode where the light will react to any sound picked up by the built-in microphone, or Slave mode where it will follow the master light that's connected to it. Next we have the SHND mode where we can set our light to preset shows. To do that, you'll also want to make sure that your light is set to the Master mode, and then from there you can go back to the SHND menu and use the up and down buttons to cycle through the different shows. Once you pick a show you want to use, you can press enter. To change the speed of the shows, you're going to cycle up until you see the speed setting. Then you can press enter to adjust the speed of the shows. Next we have an on and off switch for the sound control, so this way the light won't react to sound. And next to that we have the sound control sensitivity where we can adjust the sensitivity of the built-in mic. We have a reverse display mode that turns the display upside down, which is helpful just in case we have the light mounted onto a truss. And then we have the LED mode, which will turn on or turn off the background LED for our display. Next, we have the 1TIL mode and the 2TIL mode, where the 1TIL mode will reverse the motor on one side of the light, and the 2TIL mode will reverse the motor on the other side of the light. We also have a test mode to test the light. And lastly, we have the default mode to switch our light back to the default settings. Next to the power in socket on the back of the light, we have a power out socket so we can electrically daisy chain lights together. We also have the DMX in and the DMX out ports to connect our light to another light or a DMX controller. So here I have my DMX controller that I can use with my lights, which would be great for a stage production, live performance, etc. To connect the DMX controller to the lights, I'm gonna take the included DMX cable that comes with my light. I'm gonna take the male end and plug it into the DMX out on my controller. Then I'll plug the other end into the DMX in on the first light of my chain. Now to set up another light to the chain, I'll take another DMX cable, plug the male end into the DMX out on my first light, then plug the other end into the DMX in on the next light. And to set up even more lights, you're just gonna follow this process all the way down your chain. Now the next thing you'll wanna do on all of your lights is set up the DMX channel mode and the DMX address. Now we have two different DMX channel modes we can use with our lights and our controller. This will just set how much control we have over our lights with our controller. So we can use the 7-channel mode or the 15-channel mode depending on how much control we wanna have. For today, we're just gonna use the 7-channel mode. So on our lights, we're gonna wanna go to the DMX channel mode and press enter, and use the up and down buttons to switch between 7-channel and 15-channel mode. Like I said, we're using the 7-channel mode, so we're gonna press enter once we find the 7-channel. And then we're gonna wanna cycle back to the DMX address mode and set our lights to the same DMX address. For today, we'll use A001. The last thing we'll want to do on our lights is go over to the master slave mode and set our lights to the slave mode. So now we can go ahead and turn on our DMX controller, activate all of these scanners on our controller, and now we can go through each of the faders and see what they do with our lights. We can use fader 1 to move the front row of our lights, so the more I raise it, the more you'll see it tilt. And then we can use fader 2 to move the second row of lights, so if I raise that, you'll see the ones in the back start to move. Fader 3 acts as our master dimmer, or how bright we want our light to be, so the more I raise it, the brighter the light will go. And then we can use fader 4 to activate the strobe mode, so if I raise it just a little bit, you'll see that the lights slowly start to flash, and the higher I raise it, the faster the flash. Next we have fader 5, which is really cool because we can use it to set the lights to the different built-in effects. Now where we set the fader can also be considered as the value for the fader. So when we raise the faders up and down, you'll also see the numbers here on the top corner of your controller going up and down, letting you know the value that the fader is being set to. If you're following along with your DMX guide, you'll see that different ranges of values activate different effects. So for example, if I raise it anywhere from 8 to 17, it will activate effect 1. If I set it up anywhere from 28 to 37, that will activate effect 3, and so on and so forth. After we set an effect that we want to use, we can use fader 6 to control the speed of the effect. So the more I raise it, the faster the effects will go. And then we can use fader 7 to reset the effect setting. So if you get confused on what each fader does in the 7-channel or 15-channel mode, you can always refer to the DMX guide that comes included with your lights. Now, if you have a wireless DMX controller like the one we're using here, you can also get wireless DMX receivers like our very own DMX WREs to plug into your light for a completely wireless setup. So on our controller, we can turn on the wireless feature here on the back. Now we can go ahead and turn on our wireless receiver by using this button here on top, and you might need a small screwdriver to do this since the buttons are small. And then you'll see the wireless ID on your receiver pop up. So in order for your controller to connect to your receiver, you're gonna want to set them to the same wireless ID. The wireless ID is color-coded, as you can see on your controller and your receiver. So we're gonna go ahead and set them to the same wireless ID by pressing the button here on the back of our controller. And as we keep pressing the button, you'll see all of the different wireless ID colors that we can choose from. So for today, we're gonna set it to blue. We're gonna wanna do the same exact thing on our receiver by taking our small screwdriver and using it to press this button here on the side to cycle between the different colors. And again, we're gonna want to match it to our controller, so we're gonna set it to blue. After that, you'll see the LED on our controller light up red, while the LED on our receiver lights up green, letting us know they're connected and communicating. So now I can take my receiver and plug it into the DMX in on my light. And now if I play with my controller, you'll see that it starts to interact with my light. I also got another receiver here that I can plug into my second light. And now I can control both of them at the same time. And even if you just had one of these wireless receivers, you can just plug it into your first light, and then you can use a DMX cable to connect your first light to your second light and still have a wireless setup. So another way to control our lights without a DMX controller is by using the master slave function. To do that, we're first going to decide which light we want to use as our master light. So for today, let's go with this guy here. I'm going to take the included DMX cable and plug the male end into the DMX out on my master light. Then we're going to take the other end and plug it into the DMX in on the next light. You can repeat this process down the chain if you wanted to add even more lights. The next thing we're going to want to do on our master light is go to the master slave mode, press enter and use the up and down buttons to set it to master mode. And then on your slave lights, you're going to go to the master slave mode and use the up and down buttons to set it to slave mode. After that, I can set my master light to any effect or mode while the slave lights follow. Also, if I set my master light to sound mode, the other lights in the chain will follow as well. So if I start to clap, you'll see the master light start to change and every other light start to change also. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your Spyder LED moving headlight. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.